I like being scared. I find it fun. And as such, I think internet horror has the unique opportunity because it's not bound by any besides YouTube regulations, but any strict regulations on what you can and cannot see. So today I have about 12 of the most popular analog horror series on YouTube, and keyword series, not individual videos, but some of the key series is here for me to rank in a tier list. So let's not fucking dilly-dally any further. So, the first one I have here is the OG FNAF VHS tapes by Squimpus McGrimpus. Now, I know that maybe someone out there had a Winter Soldier flashback when I mentioned that name. I am not going to touch that controversy. It's bad. I don't really know too much about it, so I'm not really going to comment on it. We're just looking at the content in question. Now, it's a classic, you know? Like, this has inspired so many other analog horror series and videos that it's probably one of the most influential. Honestly, it might be the most influential. Don't quote me on that. But it is definitely up there as one of the titans of, you know, if you made an analog horror starter pack, this would definitely be fucking in there. That being said, now that we're looking at it retrospectively in February 2026, holy shit, it's already been a month. I think it holds up fairly well. There are some portions that are definitely not necessarily weak, but they kind of lean into those. Analog horror has a lot of cliches. You know, the distorted face, the, you know, instructional tape. And while I think the original FNAF VHS tapes kind of get a pass because they kind of started that, or at least had a hand in starting those tropes, it doesn't really distract that sometimes it can kind of feel formulaic. I'm giving it a high A tier. I think that's fair. Now, the Walton Files. I didn't even have to say anything S tier. Like, it is amazing. And by the way, don't diss on the pictures I have for these. I just took them from thumbnails. The Walton Files is easily one of the most unique, I'd say, in terms of art style, you know. And what's amazing to watch about the Walton Files is that you can tell Martin Walls, the creator, is getting better at animating and drawing as he goes along. You know, you look at the quality comparison between the introductory tape and the most recent upload, Hotline, I believe. It's a massive leap in quality, sure, but that doesn't mean it started that way. And what I think is really interesting about the Walton Files is that it actually has an interesting story. It's not retelling FNAF. It's not retelling FNAF like unfortunately a lot of these do. It's its own story with its own interesting characters and its own interesting mysteries. That's an easy S tier right there. What do we got here? Oh, the smile tape. Is this the smile tapes? Yeah, these are the smile tapes. I don't like the smile tapes. Alright, just fucking putting it out there. I'm gonna mention, like, the tropes and cliches of analog horror, and because I think the smile tapes has only really been out for maybe a year or two. When I found this thumbnail, it was only out for a year, but it was like a complete compilation of all of them, so I'm not really too sure. But it's not scary. It repeats a lot of these cliches of just distorted face, in this case, distorted smile. It's just not scary. It's kind of boring. I might get shit for this, but I'm gonna put it in high D tier. What's this one? This is Obelisk. Okay, Obelisk I really enjoy because I think not only the art styles is interesting, but I think its use of liminal spaces, and I know like the liminal spaces, like that whole kind of sub genre of horror is way overdone. You know, the Backrooms is mainstream, all that kind of stuff. But I think Obelisk is probably the most spatially aware, as in it's not the setting itself that facilitates the horror, but it's how Obelisk uses that setting, you know, such as like the corners, cramped hallways to really enhance the horror. Where do I put it? I'm kind of thinking somewhere here. and by the way, these aren't ranked in like the individual categories. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I don't think it quite has the iconography yet to be S tier, but we'll put it in A tier. Fuck. Okay. Urban Spook, the painter. The controversy around this one, I'm not going to get into it because I don't know how much I can say without getting blasted by YouTube. But look it up in your own time if you're interested. But for a lot of people, it crosses the line, and I'm going to put it in D tier because it's shock value for shock value's sake, and I don't really like that because it's not that interesting. I think it's an interesting concept, but I think the structure of the videos and how they're laid out are just not interesting. Okay. Foxy Mations, Fairy Tales, Analog Horror. This is one of my personal favorites. Foxy Mations kind of uses Martin Walls' art style to kind of create something semi-original. I think because there's a lot of reused like scenes and tricks that Martin Walls uses that's reused here, and I don't really think that's creative at all. And I like creativity. I like when people do stuff that's original. This isn't the most original thing. I'm thinking a low B tier because it's interesting, and sorry, I forgot to talk about what's good about it. The story is interesting because it's not like a vignette series. It's not just like scary Red Riding Hood, scary Hansel and Gretel in like separation. You know, there's a thread that kind of connects all of these together, and I think that's interesting. The Big Bad Wolf is one of the better analog horror antagonists. I feel like in analog horror, there's this kind of idea that your antagonist kind of has to be like mysterious, you know? This doesn't go that route. That's like, no, here's the Big Bad Wolf. He's this vicious, almost like semi-immortal killer. He's doing bad stuff. And I gotta respect fucking Foxy Mations for just doing that route. And I think it definitely enhances it. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Battington's Harmony and Horror. Now, this is also a classic. I think it started out a bit rough. You know, you look at the first maybe 3 videos and like they're not bad, but they're not good either. But Harmony Horror I think it's one of the more interactive. You know, Battington, he puts in like paths and choices that you can use through like unlisted videos. And I think that level of interactivity definitely bumps it up a few notches. The story is fairly interesting. You know, it's definitely semi-FNAF inspired, but not to the point where I think, you know, Walton Files, for example, is definitely like heavily FNAF influenced. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think it's an A tier. The Backrooms, Kane Pixels, and his new, well, the A24 film isn't out yet, but the Backrooms. Now, I don't know where to put this, because I was never really a Backrooms kid, but I can understand its influence over the whole genre, to the point where it's kind of ascended past just analog horror, to the point where, you know, fucking Kane Pixels got a movie deal. I'm gonna put it in S tier, because I know people might say, oh, of course you put it in S tier, but it is that good. You know, there's an interesting story. It is fairly spatially aware. I think Obelisk does a better use of space. Sorry, has a better use of space, but it's iconic. You know, it's just so memorable and it's good. It's good for good reason. The Mandela Catalog, another classic. I don't really enjoy it that much. I think, like, the Mandela Catalog was one of the first ones to blow up big, I'm pretty sure. You know, a lot of YouTuber reactions. And for good reason, like, a lot of it is interesting, but I don't know. I don't know if I fuck with it. By the way, I'm gonna move, after doing some thinking, I'm gonna move it down here. I'm gonna put Mandela Catalog in B tier. It's good, but it's not great. I kind of understand its influence over the genre, but that doesn't mean I love it. Gemini Home Entertainment. I like it. You know, I think... I think Local 58 is kind of a better... We'll get to Local 58. We'll do that one next, actually. I think that's a better kind of take on it. It's definitely inspired, but Gemini... I feel like it could do more. You know, I like the concept, even if it, like I said, does feel a tad derivative of Local 58. I like the concept, and I think the style and the aesthetics of it does carry it above the bottom two tiers, but I'm gonna put it in a low B tier, because I don't find it that scary. Local 58, it's like here. It's in between S and A tier, because I think it is really good, and definitely you got to remember about its influence. You know, I think it's either one of the first, or maybe the first, like, big analog horror series, and you got to put respect on the name. But sometimes I just don't think it's that scary. Fuck, I don't know. You know what? We're gonna put it in between for now. We'll come back to that in the end. Now, this is for the YouTube channel. I can't remember it. Let me check what the YouTube channel is really quickly, because I'm gonna forget. Okay, so this image is the channel profile picture of Dr. Nowhere, because it's kind of a series of, like, small, kind of like vignettes, almost like videos, but it's, you know, it's debatably a series. I'd say it's a series. I'd say it's more of kind of like an anthology piece, but it's a series nonetheless. S tier. It's so good. The art style is so disturbing and so unique. I can't get over it. You know, it's just, I don't really have many more words to say. It's just, you know, I think it does compete with these things in terms of quality. Is this, this is Vita Carnis. C tier. Vita Carnis. Like, the first 5 episodes of Vita Carnis are just, like... it's just, like, stretched out, like, public PSAs. And that's boring. It's not that interesting. Like, the latter half, like, after, because I think it's, like, 28 or so episodes. After that initial kind of slog, it gets a bit more interesting, but it's still long. I think a lot of analog horror videos in general have the issue where there's a lot of substance to their story, but just because you have a lot of substance doesn't mean it's interesting substance. You know, I think the key here in the genre that is analog horror is to make it interesting. I personally do not find Vita Carnis that interesting. Now, oh fuck. Okay, there we go. My bad. Okay, so Battington's FNAF VHS tapes. Now, I wasn't going to include this because I only wanted to have one FNAF series, but the videos themselves collectively have over 30 million views. So I was thinking to myself, I gotta do it. And they're amazing. Like, if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's and you have not seen the Battington tapes, you need to watch them now. They are so well animated and they are terrifying. Even because he started making them out as, like, remasters of old videos. Like the Squimpus videos, until Squimpus was like, hey, can you stop remaking my stuff? And then he obliged. But even, like, it's even deserving of, like, a S tier based off, like, I believe the 3 original videos. Horror Attraction, Case of Edward Morris, which is what this screenshot is from. And there's a third one that's not coming to me, unfortunately. Honestly, those 3 alone qualify it for the highest tiers. But because the series... maybe it should be S tier. Because it is better than Squimpus. I'd say it's better than Squimpus. It's not... you know what? I'm going to put it on the same tier because it's not a complete story yet. So is Harmony and Horror technically isn't. That actually looks half decent. Okay. Now the last one here is it's a very new one, but I put it here because it's gone viral and I think it'd be interesting. I made a self-aware robot. This one is great. It's really well animated. I believe the guy did it in Blender. And the main robot you can see here, Elmer, I think, is really good. You don't really see too much kind of genre blending in analog horror. Usually it's just scary thing, scary thing, scary thing. But this goes more into like sci-fi elements. And I think when you kind of transcend, well, not transcend in the sense where you go for something new, like no one was really doing AI kind of indie horror like this, and you got to respect the hustle. There's only 2 videos out, so I can't really give it, you know, an amazing rating, but we're gonna put it in high B tier. And then Local 58, yeah, we'll put it in F. We'll put it in S tier. You know, you gotta put respect on the name. This list is objectively correct. If you disagree with me, no, I'm kidding, of course. This is just my opinion. If you have any thoughts on the matter, let me know down below. I'm sure people are going to give me shit for this list. I'm not perfect. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.